Can you all see the screen? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So what is the first problem? The first problem is that you have to take a positive number as input from the user. So you can't support the, you can't give the input yourself. You have to take it from the user, and then say, let us assume that that number is n. So you have to find the sum of the first natural numbers up to n in that case. So let me do the program first. So any ideas how you can solve that?
So like we can just directly like find the sum using the formula.
Using the formula, right? Yes, there is another way to do it, that is by using iteration, but since you have not been taught iteration so far, so you can't use it as of now. So you have to use the formula in that case. So what is the formula? That is n into n plus 1 by 2, right? So first of all, you have to declare a variable n in order to take the input, then prompt the user to enter a positive number. Then you write scanf to take that number from the keyboard, and then you can simply print the sum of the natural numbers up to %d is %d. So I hope most of you know about the syntax by now, but if some of you are still a bit unfamiliar with this syntax, then let me explain to you this part also. Like %d means there is supposed to be an integer here. Okay, that is what you indicate to the compiler. %d equal to %d. Now what integer will be there? That you specify the variable after the quotes. So the first variable is n. So here whatever value of n will take its place, and then you have supplied an expression here. So whatever value of the expression you get, that is being substituted here. So you can simply write the entire expression here itself, or you can take a second variable, say s, and you can assign this the value of this expression to s, and then you can print s here. So you have any of these two options. If you can do it directly, then you don't need to take a second variable. But if you find it uncomfortable uh, using expressions directly here, since you are doing for the first time, then you better take take a variable and assign the value of the summation to it. And one more thing that I need to mention here is that in every C program you must include stdio.h. Why? Because the least thing that you want to do in a program is to get some output, right? maybe you are not taking an input. That is all. That can also be possible. But the least that you do that is that you should have some kind of output. So how can you get that output? So the developers of the C language have provided a lot of inbuilt modules. A lot of inbuilt C codes are already available uh, within the C language itself. So all you have to do is that you have to include those files here. Those C files which are already there. You don't need to rewrite it, so that you can take it. So it will include those in those C files, the C source files related to input and output. It will help you to uh, do the required input and output. For example, you are taking an input to printf, so that is also taken care of by the stdio.h. The definitions of printf is provided there. Also, when you're taking the when you're sorry, this printf is an output. When you're taking the inputs through scanf, that is also taken care of by stdio.h. And one more thing that I want to emphasize at this point is that whenever you're taking some input from the user, don't assume the user to know what input it is supposed to provide. So therefore, you must always provide a prompt telling it what exactly the computer wants. Okay, that is very important, because without that you can't have a user-friendly program. If the user has to guess it, then what's the use of the user having to get having you to write a program for that, right? So you must always prompt the user for what type of input it wants, and then take the input from the user. So that will facilitate things. So this is a very simple
I
program.
wanted to ask that is it necessary to write comments in the program?
Now I would like to ask you a counter question. If you know, then please answer this. What are comments? I mean, what is the purpose of comments? Is it for the user or is it for the programmer?
For programmer.
Right. So whoever is going to look into the program, he might need those comments, right? But the user doesn't need it. The user doesn't know what is there in the program itself. So if you need it for your reference, or suppose somebody else is going to read your program and may find it difficult to understand certain parts, then you definitely need to comment so as to facilitate the reader or yourself to understand the code later on. Understood?
So like in the assignment, it's not necessary, right? It is
If
only if we
it's
feel
not,
the code is confusing.
it's not necessary as long as it is possible to understand the code easily. But
Okay, sir.
if you think that some part is difficult to understand, then it's better to write a comment so that the explanation can also be found there. Okay. Okay, then let's go to the second question. The first question was quite easy.
Sir, sir, if we can solve a particular question in multiple ways, then
Yes.
how will we grade it? Means if we write a small program and we get the result, and in a counterpart we write a long program and we get the same result, so will both the method will get same marks or different marks?
If there are no restrictions on the methodologies, irrespective of whatever method you use, whether it is a long one or a short one, if the method is correct, you'll get full marks. Okay. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But if there are restrictions placed, for example, it is said that you cannot use a for loop or some other restriction, then you have to follow those restrictions as well. Okay. So let's go to the second question. The second question is also quite easy. So you all must be knowing about what quadratic equations are all about. So you have to find out the roots of the quadratic polynomial. So roots of the quadratic polynomial means the solution to the quadratic equation. So what are the parameters of a quadratic equation? Can anyone tell me? Like, this is the general form, ax square plus bx plus c. What are the parameters? The parameters are a, b and c, right? So you have to these are also called coefficients. So the program is supposed to take the coefficients a, b and c from the user, and given those coefficients, it has to find the solution the two solutions of the quadratic equation. So what is the formula? Anyone can tell me? Hello? It is
So minus b plus minus root over b square minus 4ac divided by 2a.
right. So let us look at the individual components one by one. So there is one minus b, and then there is a plus minus. So you do two things here. You do plus at one time and minus at other time. So what do you do plus with and what do you do minus with? That term is common, like root over b square minus 4ac. So whatever is there within the square root, that is b square minus 4ac, that is also known as the discriminant. Okay. So why it is called a discriminant, you must be knowing that, because it helps you to discriminate among the different types of roots that are possible. Like the discriminant determines whether the roots will be equal, or whether the roots will be real, or whether the roots will be imaginary. All those things, those can be defined from the discriminant itself. So that is why it is called discriminant. So an easy way will be to find the discriminant first. First of all, you take the values of a, b, and c. Okay, from the user. So what will be the values of a, b, and c? First of all, those are not necessarily integers, because the coefficients can be floating points as well. Okay, so you define those as floats, and then we take one more variable for the discriminant. We define it as d, x1 for the first root and x2 for the second root, and you prompt for a first of all, and then you get the value of a from the keyboard. Now I have purposefully written these two lines of code in one line. Why? In order to show you that it is possible to write multiple lines of code within one line, provided you separate each statement by a semicolon. So you can write as many statements as you want in a single line, but how does the compiler understand that that one statement is different from the other? Through the use of semicolons. Okay, so you can do that. You have the option to do that. It's not mandatory. Okay, then you accept b and then you accept c. Now so the discriminant here, that is d, that first of all you find out whether it is negative. So if the discriminant is negative, then what happens? What happens if the discriminant is negative?
So roots are not real.
Right. Why?
So because root over some negative number
Right.
is not real, so we
Right.
introduce some iota,
Right.
the concept of
Right.
iota.
So first of all, you have to find out whether the roots are real or not. If the roots are not real, then you simply tell the user that the roots are not real. So for that, you need to make this check. If b square minus 4ac less than 0, so you write b into b minus 4 into a into c. Okay. Then you print the message that discriminant is negative, so the roots are not real. Else, and then you do the rest of the processing in this else part. So first of all, you find the square root of the discriminant. We are assuming the square root of the discriminant as d here in this case. So we are finding the square. Now you find the square root using the sqrt function. There are different modules called functions in C, which we will come to know later for those who are new to it. For others who have already done some C programming might be familiar with it. But then in order to use this inbuilt, this is an inbuilt function in C already developed by the developers. So in order to use it, what you have to do is that you have to include the module which has those functions. So that module name is math.h. So you have to include math.h as well in this case, because you're using a math function which is defined in the defined by the C developers. So you have to find the square root of this discriminant, and then you simply write this formula minus b plus d by 2a minus b minus d by 2a, and then you simply print the roots. Now there is one thing that you might note here. I have written 0.3f and 0.3f. It means up to 3 decimal places. Okay. By default, if you print any floating point number, it will print up to 6 decimal places. But if you want anything less or more than that, then you have to use these types of format specifiers in which you can mention as to how many decimal places you want. Okay. And is there anything I missed out? Okay, if else format you all know, so I don't need to explain that part, I hope. You can notice this thing, like the use of parentheses that I have used here. See, if I had not used parentheses here, then what would have happened? It would have divided by 2 and then multiplied the result by a. So that is not what we want. So whenever you are unsure as to how the calculations will be taken by the compiler, it is always better to use parentheses in that case. Then you can be sure as to how it will be processed. Okay. So this is the second one, which is also an easy one. Let's go to the third one now. Third question. So you have to take 3 variables from the user. Yes.
In the second question, suppose if this question comes in the assignment, so
Yes.
the amount of code you have written is it enough? Like, should we not include the answers for non-real roots as well?
In general, the non-real roots are not considered. Okay. In general, only if it is specifically mentioned in the question that you have to take care of the non-real roots as well, then you can take it, no problem. Then you have to take it. Otherwise, you can just print an error message like this.
Okay.
So the third question is, you have to take 3 variables and we have to generate the output of and or operations of those 3 variables. Okay, so I have to take those 3 variables through the keyboard. Now you must be knowing about and or operations. Do you? All of you? Yes. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Is there anyone who doesn't know what and or is? What and or operation is? So I guess all of you know this. So there is no need to explain that. So there is one thing I want to emphasize here, that in general, these and or operations take only 2 values, binary values, 0 and 1. But in C can take any positive values. Okay. Any positive integers as inputs, and then if that positive integer is 0, then it is assigned as a 0. It is treated like a 0, and if it is non-zero, then it is treated as a 1. Okay. So for example, if the inputs are 4, 0, 4, then this 4 will be treated as 1. So the output of the OR of 1, 0 and 1 is 1. Okay. So first of all, what is the logic behind finding the output of AND operations? See, if you add those numbers, say you have a set of zeros and ones. If you add those numbers, then if all the numbers are zeros, only then you get a 0, right? But if any of those numbers are non-zeros, then what happens? You don't get a 0 in that case. So you get something more than 0. So if the output of the addition operation is something more than 0, then you have to then the output will be 1. Then, and if it is equal to 0, then it will be treated as 0. So first of all, you take these values. You take the values of A, B, and C from the user, and then I'll explain these print statements later on. For now, let us look at the logic of finding the output of AND and OR operations. So you add those numbers. If it is equal to 0, then the output should be 0. Else, the output should be 1 for OR operations. And what is the logic for AND operations? If you take the product of all those numbers, then if the product of these numbers is 0, then only then you can be sure that there is at least one 0 among those numbers. If none of those are 0, then the product can never be 0. So if the product is 0, then only then you can have one of the numbers as zeros. Otherwise you cannot have 0 as the product. So you can use this logic to find out the AND operation. So if the product of the three operands is 0, then you can be sure that the output of the AND operation is 0. Otherwise it is 1. So you find out using this if else, using these if else conditions, and then simply print them out. Now there is a way I have used to print it out. I have simply followed the instructions given here. See, first of all you have to write A, then followed by some space, then B, then followed by some space, then this thing. So I have done exactly this thing, and this new line character I have provided, I could have provided here as well, right? But instead of providing it here, I have provided here. It is all the same, but it is not all the same, sorry. If you had provided here, then immediately after getting this prompt, the cursor would have gone to the next line. So that doesn't make it very neat, right? And then immediately if you print something, then along with the input that you give, the rest of the things will come out. Let me run this program and show it to you. Then it will be clear. So tell me some values of PDNC, some non-zero values. Yes, anyone? Hello?
Sir, 2, 3, and 0.
2, 3, and 0. So these are the values of A, B, and C. So this is the output that you get. Okay. Now let us correlate this output with the program. So you have a print statement here. I have provided the spaces accordingly so as to get it like this. And then immediately after this, I am supposed to get this. So I am supposed to get the values of A, B, and C right under A, B, and C, and the value of the output right under this statement. So how do you get this? Use the same amount of spaces and you write all this as %d, %d, and %d like that, and then you supply the names of the variables, and then you repeat this line in order to get a copy of this line in the next line, and then you do the same thing in order to find the output of the AND operation. Okay. Now what I was saying was that how do you use the new line statements? Suppose instead of using the new line statements here, I had used it here, then how would the output look like? Let me show you now. So you immediately go to the next one, right? 2, 3, 0. One. So here actually this code blocks is quite an advanced IDE. So it, with every new printf, it automatically detects that it will go to the next line. So here it doesn't create any problem. But if you use any other compiler, then what would have happened is that let me show you again.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, can we input negative numbers?
No, here you are not supposed to input negative numbers. Okay.
Means
Because-
is it possible? Like if we give -1, 1 and 2, something like that. So will it means that OR operation can be done there?
No. Or in C, you can for the operands you can use only positive integers. It can include 0 as well, but only positive integers.
Excuse me,
In
sir.
C, yes.
So instead of finding the results of AND and OR operations using this A plus B plus C is equal to 0 or the multiplication is equal to 0, can't we directly use those operators?
You can directly use those operators, but then I think you need to probably use parenthesis also, or maybe C can also use the precedence that it uses and do that. Yeah, you can use those.
Okay, sir. So,
Okay.
like, it is not necessary to use this if else and on.
No, it is not the only way to do this. It is only one of the ways that I'm showing you.
Okay.
Okay. Whatever you said, you can do it that way also. Okay. So let us. So here you're accepting the the inputs on the next line, and then what happens if you don't put a new line character here? In other compilers, what happens is that this A, B, and C would have been on this line, and it would have looked very clumsy in that case. So that is the reason why it is better to put this thing. It has got stuck up for some reason. Did you all try the other problems like 4, 5, and 6?
Yes, sir, I have tried. But sir, I have a doubt in 4. Like, sir, I have a
Yes.
doubt in 4.
Yes.
Sir, in 4, sir, the input is only a 5-digit number or any number. I am not understanding the question properly.
It can be any
what
number.
it is asked.
It,
So in that
first
case of
all,
any
then,
number, what shall be the output?
1 minute. First of all, you have to take an integer and a floating point number. So there are two variables here. Okay. Do you
sir.
understand?
Yes,
there are
sir.
two variables here. One for an integer and another for a floating point number. For integer, you just display the value of the integer. No, there is no issue there. But for the floating point number, you use different precisions. Okay. For example, you use 0 decimal places and then 2 decimal places, and then say, for example, 6 decimal places, 5 decimal places, like that. Okay. So
yes, sir.
I'm shortly going to show you that.
So for that, do we have to round it off as well, or
Do you have to?
like round it as well? Like when you're like leaving some decimal places, we got to round the number as well in that.
So I guess the question is asking for truncating the decimals.
Yeah, it is truncating the decimals. The truncation doesn't happen in the variable itself here. Okay. The truncation happens directly during the display. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So the value of the variable is not getting changed in any way due to the truncation, because there is no truncation in the value of the variable. What is happening is that it takes the value of the variable itself, and then before display it truncates the unnecessary parts and then displays the rest of the parts.
No, sir,
So-
I'm asking like here it is 1, 2, 3, 4.87. So if we want one decimal place, do we want 1, 2, 3, 4.9? Because just 1, 2, 3, 4.8.
1, 2, 3, 4 point. Yeah, it will be 0.9 for one decimal place.
Okay, so we need to round that off.
Right. I'm just showing you. So this is the fourth program. So you take an integer and then you take a float, and then there is one more thing that has been written here in the question. That is, you have to print the value as well as the address of the values. Okay, address of the variables. So whatever variable you take, yeah, that variable is stored somewhere in the RAM of the computer, right? So that RAM is indexed by different addresses. So suppose any value is assigned to a variable, so that variable has two things. One is the value of the variable, and the second is the address of the variable, that is where exactly is it stored in the memory. So this question wants you to print both, like the value of the variable as well as where exactly the variable is stored. For example, where exactly this a is stored and where exactly b is stored. So for printing the value, you simply have this %d and you write the name of the variable, no problem. For the address, you have a special data type, and that is called pointer data type. You'll learn more about pointers in a later part of the course. So for pointer data type, you write %p instead of %d or something else. You write %p and you write ampersand of a. Ampersand means here address. So if you write ampersand before any variable, it means the address of the variable. Okay. So let me run it and then you can see that. So tell me any integer.
Sir, 23.
Tell me a large floating point number. Not very large, but reasonably large.
85.763.
Good point. Okay, let me take a lot of decimal digits because I have to show you a lot of things here. Let's take this one. So you can see now it has printed the values of the variables, and the address of a is also there. So 060FEFC. So why is it showing these alphabetic characters here? Anybody knows?
So it is a hexadecimal.
It is hexadecimal, right? Actually, when the addresses are shown in C, it is shown in the form of a hexadecimal number. Because as you can see, for example, how many digits are here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 digits. And for hexadecimal, each digit takes how many bits? 4 bits. So 8 into 4 is 32 bits. So for integers, it is not for integers, sorry. So all the addresses are 32-bit addresses here. Okay. And since using a large string of 32 bits will look very clumsy, so C has another way of representing, C has its own way of representing it very neatly, and that is in the form of hexadecimal numbers, which can be easily interpreted as binary numbers whenever the need arises. So this is the address of A, and then you have the address of B here, and then you are using different precisions. For example, let me show you the precisions now. 0.0f, so you don't want any decimal numbers here, so it is only 85. And then you have 0.2f, so 2 decimal places. You can see this here, 85.46. You see, it's not just truncated but rounded off, as you can see. Had it been only truncated, it would have been 0.45. But it is not just truncated, but it is rounded off to 2 decimal places, so it is 85.46, and then b equal to 85.45699, as you can see, 69, and then since there is a 5 here, you get a 9. Okay. And then there is one more thing that you might notice here, that suppose the rounding off had happened in the variable itself, then what would have happened? If that was true, then what would have happened? Once the variable gets rounded off, the past value of the variable will get forgotten, right? So you can't use it for later for other precision values. So you wouldn't have got this had the variable been changed. So these commands actually do not change the values of the variables, but these change the way the variables will be displayed. Okay.
So in question, we had to give first 3 digits as then how we have to do that, sir?
Yes, yes. I'm telling you that I think
yes.
this the first thing that has been shown, x equal to 1 to 3. I think that is a mistake in the question. Okay, it is not possible to show 1 to 3 like that. It is not. It is not a proper representation of 1 to 3 4 5, right? Whenever
Yes.
you write with different precisions, the precisions refer to decimal digits. You can't write 4 as 40. Is it possible? Like the values will get changed totally. That is not. I think there is a mistake in the question in this case.
And one thing, sir, in my I took the same example of x, but while printing up to 6 decimal digits, its value was changing, sir. Means in floating point number, I guess limit up to 6 decimal digits.
6
Even
decimal.
then, its value was changing. Yes, sir.
Like I don't
The same
understand.
example given in the question. I gave the same example.
Okay, let's.
Even then, variable value was changing.
Variable value was changing or the this.
I mean printing in printing the number floating point
Right.
number got changed
So
after decimal.
so if the form of the printing gets changed, that doesn't necessarily mean that the variable gets changed. You have to understand this clearly. There is a huge difference between the two. The variable remains as it is, but when you are displaying the values, okay, then the display changes.
Okay.
I have to show you once again. Let me use this example itself, which has been provided in this PDF. This 23 be an integer, and then let me take this one. 1 2 3 4 5 point
872345.
8. So you can see it's 0.87, and then it's 0.87207, right?
So
207.
as here the value changed 872070. I mean it can happen. I'm asking that second line.
Yes, yes.
While
So for that
I
we
now get
need,
your
I
I
think
now
we
get
need
your
to use a
question.
double.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Float is much less precise.
Yes, yes. If you use double here, then I think it will be proper.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Double will work.
Float is less precise. Okay, let me see what is given in the question once. It is written as a floating point number. So it might get changed in that case. Yeah, you're right. But then this it is only the display that is getting changed, but the value of the variable is not getting changed. For example, if I print the value of the variable again, it will be the same. Let me show you. You can see that the value of b after all these displays remains the same. So you can conclude from this that the variable is not getting changed. But when you are displaying it, then the before displaying it, whatever is being shown, that only that is being changed. The variable is not getting changed. Okay.
yes.
Good. Now let's go to the next question.
Sir, why it happens? Is there any reason behind it? Like
Which
it
one?
changes the value?
The value is not getting changed. That is what I'm emphasizing. The value is not getting changed. The display is getting changed. Okay.
So means why the display is getting changed?
The display is getting changed because you are specifying that change. You are specifying it here, right? You are telling the compiler to show the value of the variable only up to 2 decimal places. So
No,
that
sir.
is why
It
it's saying
means
up to 2%.
in the print in the second means sixth line. Open the so
Six.
we are like taking in the value of b from the user, and
Right.
in the last printf function we are printing the same value, but
Same value.
the value which is printed is different from the one which is being input.
Different from?
So what we have I means filled in.
Yes, now tell me. See, the value of b here is whatever I have supplied here.
No, sir, it is different.
No, it is different because
They are different, sir.
I've used it is different because I've used 7 decimal places here. But
So
then by
even
default,
if you'll put like 6 decimal places, even then it will change it.
Sir, can you change that float to double?
I can change the float to double, but you can check the question here. It has been written as floating point number. Okay, let us change it to double then. Okay. Now let's see.
So you have to change the format. So it's
Yes, LF you have to give.
Let's see. Now you can see. So the values are not getting changed, isn't it? Hello?
so it is.
It is changing there in the display, in the printf
No, so
statement.
in the last part as well, you are getting 0.223
6599.
6599.
Right. And here also
It's a bit more accurate.
6599. Huh? Hello?
Okay, so I guess it has rounded it off.
No, here you have a float here. Okay.
So because we gave 987 and here it is only
987, it has rounded up to 6 decimal places.
So
That
like in
happens.
the last part, at the end when we just
Right. 236599. So where is the problem?
so it should give back the same value, right?
Yeah, it is giving
Because
the
in the
same
last
value.
part we have not mentioned any precision level.
You're talking about this value, right?
Yes, sir.
No, actually you have to notice one thing here. There are 7 decimal places here. Right?
Hmm.
Okay. By
So
default. Hello?
it means double only gives till 6 decimal
Up to
places.
6 decimal places. It displays up to
So
6 decimal places.
is it is there any function means variable type which gives more than 6 decimal places?
I'm not aware of that actually.
It depends upon compiler, I think.
And there is another reason behind using a double actually. That is, it it can not only accommodate large number of decimal places, but it can also accommodate huge numbers, very large numbers. Okay, very large floating point numbers. For example, if you use uh, say you want numbers like of the range 2 to the power 20 or something, then using double will be appropriate. Okay. So any other questions regarding this question? Hello? Hello?
No, sir.
Now let's go to the next question. So you have to take the marks of a student from the user, and then you have to find out the grade accordingly. So this will be done. I mean, you have been asked to use two different things to do this, one at a time. First of all, you use the conditional operator for solving this problem, and then you use if-else statements to solve this problem. This using if-else is pretty straightforward. Like, this is for using the conditional operator. I'll show you the conditional operator a little later. So let me comment it now. Also, let me show you how to comment it. You simply select this part, go to the edit part, and simply click on comment, and this will be commented. And this part is was commented beforehand. I want to uncomment it. So what do? You select it and go to uncomment. Now let us study this code. Take the marks, and then you simply put in these statements. If marks greater than equal to 90, grade equal to E. For grade, since it is a character, so you have to write CHAR, and you represent characters as characters having a single quote. If you put single quotes, then it is identified by the compiler as a character. So else if marks less than 90, I mean you have to write out all these conditions in the else if parts, and accordingly assign the grade in the different components. So this is a pretty straightforward way of doing this. But now if you are said that you are not allowed to use the if-else statements, but you are allowed to use the conditional operator, then things become a little murky. Okay. So comment. Let me comment this part now. Let me uncomment this part. So what is the format of the conditional operator? Let us study that first. So first of all, you have a condition to be checked. Okay. And then you put a question mark there. Now, if that condition is true, then you have a certain set of statement. Then you have a certain statement that will be run for that part. If it is false, then a different statement will be run. So these statements are separated by colons. So if marks greater than equal to 90, if I write grade equal to E, then grade equal to E will be executed, and this part will be ignored. But if this condition is not satisfied, then the first part will be ignored and the second statement will be executed. Now, like in the previous case, we had only if else, so we simply checked for the condition, and if that condition was satisfied, we simply assign the grades. If that condition was not satisfied, we immediately went to the next else statement. But here there is no such option. So what do? First of all, if the condition is satisfied, you simply write grade equal to E, and then what happens if you leave this part blank? The compiler will simply throw an error. So in order that the compiler does not throw an error, you have to write something here. So what can it be? That something? You can simply write the opposite of that. You can write grade not equal to E. Similarly, for all these things, you can write grade not equal to E, grade not equal to D, like that. And in that way, yes.
So can we just write the next statement instead? Just like how we do nest the if else thing.
Conditional if conditional nested conditionals, right?
Yes, sir. Like
if you can keep track of it, then it is very good. You can directly do that. But if you find it difficult to keep track of all those nestings, then it's better to write like this.
okay, sir.
And if you can keep track of those, then you are most welcome to write that. I think that that will be more compact compared to this one, but then it will be less readable. Like any reader might find it difficult to understand the logic. Okay, now let me run both these things. So suppose someone has got 53. So the grade is D. We run once more. Tell me any marks.
17.
7. It is B. Okay. Now let me comment this part. There are shortcuts also. You can check out the shortcuts here itself. And use the shortcuts if you want. Let me run this using the if else statements now. So the first one that I had taken was 50. So second time you said 70. Now let's go to the last question. So could anybody solve the last question?
Yes, sir. I have solved.
Yes, sir.
So is this the way I have done here, or you have used a different way?
Yes, sir. I have actually means I didn't know that it also can be done in this manner, like ch greater than equal to a and ch. I have just introduced a new variable int and found out the ASCII value, and then I did
Okay. That is also one of the ways to do that.
So I did it using 3 conditions, like one case for uppercase, one for lowercase, and third for symbol.
Third for a symbol. But it
That
could have been a
valid?
digit as well, no?
Huh?
If it is a digit, then what will you print out?
Okay, sir. Okay, I'll put
So you have to
another
handle
line
that
for
case
this.
also.
Sir, can we use the ASCII values of the letters if
You
CH
can use the
greater
ASCII
than?
values of the letters. If you know the ASCII values, you can use them directly, or you can declare a int variable and then capture the value and then use it, or use it directly like this that I have done here. Okay. Is it clear? Okay. Now, is there anyone who doesn't know about the ASCII character, what ASCII means? But I think it will be more relevant to explain it here. Okay. Let me go to this link. First of all, whenever you store a character type variable, how many bits does it use? Yes.
So 1 byte, 8 bit.
What? Hello?
1 byte.
1 byte. That means how many bits? 1 byte means how many
8
bits?
bit.
8
8.
bits, right. Right. So, if there are 8 bits, then how many possible combinations are there? How many possible 8-bit values are there?
2
You
to
start
2 is
0
to
to
8
255.
256.
minus 1.
minus 1. Why minus 1? You have
So
values
like,
starting from 000 up
okay,
to
so
8
like
times
depending on that.
to 111 up to 8 times, right?
Yes, sir.
How many
Okay.
possible values are there? There will be 2 to the power 8 values. Because for each bit you have 2 options. So you keep on multiplying 2 into 2 into 2 like that up to 8 times, right? So there are 256 options. So suppose I develop a code language to which I assign a code number to a character. Then how many possible characters can I encode using 8 bits? I can encode up to 256 characters. Okay. Now this ASCII value, it uses only 7 bits out of those 8. Okay. The first bit is set to 1. Like the first bit is set to 0. So for example, if you declare a character type variable in C, there are a total of 8 bits that are assigned for that variable, and by default that first bit is always set to 0, and then you are left with 7 more digits, and those 7 digits give you the encoding of a particular character in ASCII. That encoding is also called ASCII character. So there, if you have 7 bits for encoding, then there are a total of 128 possible characters that you encode. So those encodings are provided in decimal as 0 to 127. For the first 32 characters, these are control characters. Okay. What is the function of control characters? The function of control characters is to interact with the hardware. So the programmer has got nothing to do with these characters. It uses some signaling mechanisms to control the hardware, and we are not concerned with that. So our things of interest start from 32 onwards. So 32 to 127, there are different characters. Each character is encoded by one number. Okay. So for example, space is encoded by 32, and then O is encoded by 79. So these encodings are also called ASCII values. So each character has an ASCII value. And from this table you can see that there are some special characters first of all, and then starts the digits. The digits start from 48 and then ends at 57, and then some more special characters, and then from 65 starts the capital letters, all one after the other, up to 90, and then you have some special characters again, and from 97 to 122 you have the small letters, and then some other special characters. Now you can see here that if you write this thing 5 within quotes, then 5 within single quotes, then it means that the this is not the number 5. It is the character which has been encoded as 5 in the ASCII table. So it will correspondingly, sorry, this thing, like within the single quotes, if it is 5, then it will find the character that corresponds to 5. You have 5 here, which is the character. What is the ASCII encoding corresponding to that? It will return that. So you can use this mechanism to specify the conditions. Like if character is greater than or equal to A, this translates to 65 here, as you can see, sorry, 65, and you go all the way up to Z, up to 90. So you can, if it is within this limit, then you can be sure that it is uppercase. Else, if it is within this limit, then it is lowercase. Else, there are another set of characters which are digits. So in that case, you pin none of the 3 options according to the question. Otherwise, all the rest, as you can see, belong to special characters. You have either capital letters or small letters, or digits or special characters. So if it is none of these 3, then it will be a special character. So in this way you can solve this problem. So is it clear? Is it clear? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So
Sir,
any other
how
question?
to, sir, how to print the ASCII value of the numbers?
ASCII value of the numbers. You can print it. 1 minute. I'll just show you. Let's check out this thing. You can see this, like for the character 5, you get none of the 3 options because it is a digit, right? And then you get 97. So what does 97 correspond to? This A, small a. So this is how you can find out the ASCII value. you can print the ASCII value. You can also check in the table here, small a corresponds to 97.
So in this
So you
case,
write-
it treats 5 as a character and not as a integer.
Which one?
Like in this case, it treats 5 as a character because we have defined, like we have used.
Yes, it treats 5 as a
C.
character. Whatever you type here will be treated as a character because I have declared it as ch, char ch. So it is a character type data. It is also scanning it as character type. So whatever you type here, be it a digit or anything else, it will be treated as a character, and then it will find out whether this character is a digit or whether it is an uppercase letter or a lowercase character or a special character. And in last statement, you can see that this is the way to find the to print the ASCII value. Instead of writing %c, you can write this thing %d, then you can find the ASCII value. If you write it as %c, then it will simply type in as a. Okay. So any other questions? Okay then. Best of luck for your next lab.
Sir,
Yes.
my code blocks is not working. Can you please guide me?
Not now actually.
Sir, then can I send you the photo?
You can send me the photo, or maybe you can schedule a meeting later on. What exactly is the problem?
Sir, when I'm running the file or
Yes.
building it, it's showing C temp permission denied.
Oh, this permission is denied there. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you have to go to that folder. Okay.
Okay.
First of all, you check whether you can open that folder by yourself. Okay. Because sometimes it happens that only administrators are provided access to some folders. So you first of all check whether that is the case. If that is the case, then you give that folder. Are you an administrator of the system?
Yes, sir. I have, and also I'm sir made the code block run as the administrator.
Okay. Anyway, you first of all try to see whether the temp folder is opening. Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You first of all check that. If it doesn't open, then you can identify that that is the problem actually. You are not given access to the folder. In that case, you can just tweak some settings to get access to that folder. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
If that is not the case, then we'll again see later on. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So we can leave the meeting now. Sudhakar? Sudhakar is there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So can we leave the meeting now?
Hey, I mean, I'm also joined. No problem. Yeah, if you are done, then
Yeah.
yeah.
You have something to explain to them?